Here's a video of the Thunderbird, the namesake of my channel. Unfortunately, I have to store it outside, so it's getting a little bit of snow and weather and stuff like that. So hopefully this summer I'll be able to move it to my current place and store it inside. There's some bad body work that was done on a few of the rear, well, I think both rear quarters, but aside from that, the body's in really good shape. There was a little bit of paint touch up just with a spray can. It looks like this rear quarter here is a little bit better, in better shape, but few rust spots that somebody tried to paint over. So there's definitely work that needs to be done. But overall, the body's in decent shape. I don't think it'll be too much work to weld in new quarters, or I don't even know what kind of condition they're in until I chip off the Bondo that they put there. But I think it might need new quarters, but it might even just be able to weld in patches and stuff. But that's all going to be a lot farther down the road. I'm more focusing on mechanical for right now. So far, I guess in no particular order, but things that I've done, these tires are obviously aftermarket. I forget the exact size, but the fronts are something like I think they're a 14 inch rim, a 14 by 6, I want to say, something like that. And the back are, I think, a 15 by 10, if I remember correctly. I bought them as a set from a fellow who had them on another car, and they turned out to be just what I was looking for the car. It gives it a good look that I really enjoy the look of, and put myself a emblem that I purchased on the hood. I thought I kind of added a nice touch to the car. Unfortunately, I think that's going to have to come off if I ever, well, when and if I do redo the hood. I honestly think the hood could probably pass with just a good buff. There's a few chip spots, but overall the hood's probably one of the best parts on the car. The interior has taken quite a bit of work to get to where it is, and it still has some more. But I gutted the interior for the most part. The dash is still intact and a few things like that, but the seats are out, the carpet's out. I stripped all the sound deadening out, took all the old seam seal out, sanded the floor mostly by hand, and a little bit of power tool, but mostly by hand. There were no rust through spots. There was some rust on the floor, but it was not bad enough to do anything about, so I was really happy about that. Once I stripped it all, I redid the seam seal on the floor on all the joints, and then I repainted it all with a couple coats of brush painted oil based, I think it was Rust-Oleum is the brand, and so I went with a good quality oil-based paint, and I chose to brush it on just so I could get a nice thick coat. Hopefully I made the right decision, but I thought if I could get a nice coat that adheres well, it should last. And also I'm not planning to put carpets in, at least not yet. I'm going to have mats, but I thought if now that I have a thick coat on, it should withstand any sort of scuffing and such. So the carpet itself weighs probably about 30 pounds, I would think. So, anything within reason that I can do to take the weight off. But I'll have the carpet or the foot pads at the front, so when we're sitting in, it doesn't scuff it too badly. And there's still a lot more gutting that I want to do eventually. Not a lot more, I guess. I don't know, maybe another 50 pounds tops probably that I'd take off. Eventually I want to take off all the door trim and take out all the electric motors for the window and all that kind of stuff, and just turn it into a crank system. Either that or just put just like a strap system to raise and lower the window. And so if you're looking for any parts for your project car, get in contact with me, because I would be happy to sell some of the stuff that I'm not using on my build. Had a race seat here that I built, and had to make all the mounts for it, and I made adjusting slots so I could have it in different positions and stuff. But I'm going to be taking this out, and actually today I'm hoping to get the bench seat put back in, and that's all I'll be doing. I'm going to leave the back seats out for now, unless if I am going to be like going on a road trip. I'm not going to have them in, most likely just have the front bench seat, so I can take 1 or 2 passengers with me if I want. And it'll be easy to swap it out if I ever want to race or something. I'll just pop my racing seat back in. And rebuilt drivetrain consists of a rebuilt motor. I don't know if I'll get into that today. My phone's pretty low on battery, but post something in the comments if you want to see about that. I'll see if there's a lot of interest, and I'll do a video sooner. Otherwise, I'll probably wait a little bit to do a video on that. But essentially, the whole drivetrain's been rebuilt except for the transmission. I did some seals and such on the transmission, but aside from that, the transmission's stock. Up the rear end, the car came with an open rear. I put a Detroit True Track, which is it's a default lock. So actually no, that's wrong. I think I got a locker. I ordered a True Track, but I think they sent me a locker. So I'm not quite sure 100%, but with the locker, the default is locked, but when you go into a turn, it'll release. If it senses that you're in a turn, it should release. The True Track acts more like a posi, but I can't remember which one I have. I don't know which one I have for sure, because it seemed like, based on the picture and everything, that it might have been a Detroit locker. It's a Eaton brand, Eaton Detroit locker. So it's either that or the True Track, depending on which one they actually sent me. But either way, I'd be happy with either. I intended to get the True Track just so it's a little bit less clunky and noisy when you're turning, and it's just a little more user-friendly for casual driving and things like that. And then I put 350 gears in the back, so full rebuild on that. Also, the other thing I did is I put a drain plug on the bottom of the diff, so I can service the fluids easier. Drivetrain or drive shaft is original as far as I know. It's probably had new U-joints at some point because they're in good shape. The motor rebuilt, the machine shop told me that I had to go 40 over on the cylinders, so it's sitting at about 436 cubic inch, I think, right now. Has the original 429 big block. And the gentleman that helped me build the engine, we built it kind of how he's built some of his 429s. And it's essentially there's a police interceptor version of this engine that was in service, and that had a little bit of a different cam. Nothing crazy, but there's a few differences to that motor. Produced definitely more horsepower. So that's how we built this motor. Would be pretty close to what the police interceptor motor specs would be. And if you're interested, put something in the comments, and I can go through my build receipts and get all the specs if you're interested in knowing what the cam specs are and all that kind of stuff. But it has almost completely flat head pistons with one valve relief. I can't remember which one, if it's intake or exhaust, but it has one valve relief. But aside from that, they're flat top. And that's about it. There's a few things. It still has stock exhaust manifolds. Still has the stock exhaust system, which I'm going to be working on at some point. Stock intake manifold, stock crank, stock piston rods, aftermarket pistons, and aftermarket cam. A different cam than what would have been original. But aside from that, and those are all things, some of those things I want to eventually get to. I want to maybe put some headers in it down the road and put a different intake on, a lighter aluminum intake. I could probably shave off 50 pounds. Maybe not quite that much. Maybe 40 pounds, 40 pounds, just by switching to an aluminum intake. It's a really heavy cast intake. And also I could shave a fair bit of weight going with headers. So those are all things that are come down the road at some point probably, but not really my main focus at this point. My main focus is just to get it to pass an out of province. It's a Saskatchewan car as far as I know. That's where it came from. I think that's where it is original, but I haven't run a VIN search on it or anything. So yeah, that's a little bit of a video talking about kind of where I'm at with the build right now. I'm trying to get the seat in today, and I need to get before I put the seat in, I need to get the wiring harness. These cars came with a detachable harness that runs along the passenger seat floor, just underneath the carpets and all that, and that connects all the wiring for the headlight for the tail lights and all those kinds of things. So I need to get that back in before the seat goes in. So there you have it. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. And thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can keep up to date with what's going on. And I'll be trying to post pretty regularly on this car over the next several months as I try to get it ready for summer, get it on the road for summer. There's a lot that I need to do. A lot of it is time, but also money. There's obviously there's some things are pretty expensive that will have to kind of wait until I can afford them on the car, but I'll try to do what I can. So okay, thanks.